anything you... My son has a thing that he's a priest, you know, and anything you say can be used in a sermon. Watch out. All right. Okay, so... blah, 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 blah. Today we'll seek healing. We will explore physical, emotional, and especially spiritual. Okay, so I put emotional because today is practical advice on dealing with the emotions. So today is the emphasis is on emotional, but never, ever will I let go of the spiritual aspects of our journey. So I will absolutely bring in the spirituality of what's going on, in addition to some practical advice on what to do. Okay? So we're going to talk about coping during the holidays. That's the theme for today. However, I want to start by just talking about holidays and what is holidays all about. So I'm going to read from Luke. The Christmas stories are in Luke and in Matthew. Okay? Not in Mark. Mark starts with Jesus being baptized. That's it. He's an adult. And John has this beautiful preamble. And the Word became flesh, and the Word, you know, and that's just beautiful. But it doesn't start with the nativity stories. They come from Luke, especially from Luke, and they come from Matthew. We don't know that as a fact, but really we think that Luke must have known Mary, because a lot of the things that he says only Mary would know. He must have had access to her. Now, John was the one who took care of Mary, but Luke must have had access. So anyway, I'll read. In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that the whole world should be enrolled. Now, Luke is balancing the Emperor Caesar Augustus and the Emperor Christ. There's a reason why he names him, because he balances the emperor who's powerful in the world and the emperor who's humble and who is our creator. It's not an accident that he mentions emperor. This was the first enrollment when Quirinius was the governor of Syria. So all went to be enrolled, each to his own town. And Joseph too went up to Galilee from the town of Nazareth to Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and family of David. And it had been predicted of the 12 tribes of Israel, the Messiah would come from David. So Luke needs to let you know he came from David. Joseph was from David. Turns out Mary was from David also. They both were from David, from the tribe of David. To be enrolled with Mary, his betrothed, who was with child. We already gone through the story of how, you know, she conceived and whatever. While they were there, the time came for her to have her child, and she gave birth to her firstborn son. She wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. A story you've heard over and over many times. Mm-hmm. Well, the holidays are about Christmas. And I say that because they're called holy days. And we've changed the word to holiday because we don't want to call it holy anymore. We, as a society, have taken out all the celebration of Christmas out of it. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but try and find a Christmas card that has the nativity or the manger or something. It's very hard. I have to struggle to find a Christmas card like that. They don't sing "Oh Holy Night" anymore, you know. So, and you know, again, the word holiday has replaced holy day. It is a celebration of a birth, a very humble birth. But it's not just a birth. It is the unfolding of a plan. Okay, it started with Adam and Eve. I was actually counseling somebody just this Monday. And it was about mourning, but we were talking about what is life and what is death and what is heaven and what is earth. They were actually in heaven. The Garden of Eden was not on earth. It was in heaven, and they lost it. And we lost it too. And we were not supposed to die. We were not supposed to get sick. And it's not about an apple. There was a disconnect between Adam and Eve and their creator. And they lost it. They got expelled from the garden. No longer living in heaven, now living in earth. And death came. It was never the plan for us to die.
Never. We were supposed to all just be born and then live forever in heaven, in the garden. Plan got ruined. Okay? Well, God had his plan also. In addition to the first plan, plan B, I guess you could say. If you read the scriptures of Genesis, Adam and Eve, there were 2 trees in the garden. One was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That's the one they ate the fruit from, not an apple, a fruit. But there was another tree. And if you read carefully, there was a second tree, and it was the tree of life. You want to see what that tree looks like? I can show it to you. It's right there. Right there. Already he knew they were going to screw up, and already he had this plan for our salvation because he knew we were going to mess it up. Already. Yeah. And so this plan of God to save us because we were destined to screw up. Part of the plan is the birth. Part of the plan is the death on the cross. And the majority of the plan is the resurrection. Okay? Now we deal with death all the time. Again, death started in the garden. But it is through this death that death died. Okay? And I won't go into the theology of that, but it's part of God's plan. Okay? So, Christmas is a birthday, but it is the unfolding of our plan of salvation, God's plan of salvation for us. It's a big deal. Okay? All right. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about Christmas, and then we'll get into coping with the holidays. Okay? Why December? Okay? Many people will tell you because there used to be a pagan holiday on December 25th, and we Christians invented Christmas on the 25th to counter the pagan holiday. No. Okay, but that is you may have heard that story, that it was meant to replace a pagan holiday. Okay, so December 25 is not in the Bible. You can't read the Bible and find out that he was born on December 25th. It doesn't say that. It doesn't even say winter. Okay, it doesn't even say that. So how do we know December 25th? Okay, all right. So this is one way of discerning that. The angel Gabriel comes to Mary and says, "You're about to conceive this child," and she has to say yes. Okay, and then she conceives Jesus. But then the angel Gabriel also says, "I have some news for you." He said, "What's the news?" "Your cousin Elizabeth is already 6 months pregnant." Okay, there's a clue. Okay, if we know when Elizabeth conceived, then we know when Mary conceived. So we go to the scriptures, and when does Elizabeth conceive? Well, when Gabriel appears to Zechariah in the temple and tells him, "You are to conceive a son," John the Baptist. Okay? Now the catch is, when did Gabriel go to Zechariah and tell him that? It doesn't say so 100% in the Bible. Again, it's in Luke. As a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and look at Luke. Okay? I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. I just couldn't help it. Okay. A priest named Zechariah of the priestly division of Abijah. Okay. Once, when he was serving in priest in the division's turn before God, according to the practice of the priestly service, he was chosen by lot to enter the sanctuary of the Lord to burn incense. That's the clue. That's the clue. Every year, the high priest was chosen to go into the temple. Okay? But only once a year was he chosen to do something very special. It's called the Day of Atonement, the Feast of Atonement. Okay? On that day, not only does he go into the temple, but he goes into the Holy of Holies, which is the innermost part of the temple. Nobody goes to the Holy of Holies. Nobody. It's that sacred to them. Not only that, but nobody ever says the name of God, Yahweh. Nobody. On that day, he enters the Holy of Holies and says, "Praise you, Yahweh."
And he's so scared because he don't say that. He don't say that name. But it doesn't specifically say that, but it sure implies that. And the angel appears to him. Why would the angel appear to him in the outer court? It seems to me that the angel would appear to him when he's in the Holy of Holies, on the Day of Atonement, which is October. That we know. Now go 6 months. Okay? Mary conceives in March. Now go 9 months. It's December. It actually is in the Bible. A little bit indirect, but it is in there. Okay? Not necessarily March 25th. No, that one we kind of made it up. Okay. But it is actually in Scripture that it was in the month of December, in the winter, that Jesus was conceived. Okay? Born. Conceived in March. And the fact that it's winter is significant for us four. Okay? So, what has happened is we've taken holy days and made them a holiday. It starts with the birth. Okay? And we celebrate the birth of our Savior. But then we decided to make it just a party. Christmas, a birthday party, okay? And then we decided to extend it. We decided to add on Thanksgiving, okay, which we'll celebrate next week. And that's beautiful because we are giving thanks to God for all the gifts. I hate Thanksgiving. You know why I hate Thanksgiving? Because we shouldn't have one day to give thanks to God. We should do it every day. Now, I love the turkey and all that good food. That's good. Let's have a party. Okay? That's apparently what we do, right? We party good. But, and then of course, Christmas isn't enough. Let's, throw in New Year's for fun. And now, the three of them and Hanukkah and all the other things becomes holidays. But it was holy days. It was holy days. And what used to be a religious celebration of our salvation has become a time to party. And that's a problem for us. Because partying when we're grieving is hard. I mean, it's just antiphony of what we want to be. We don't want to, okay? So for us, it's a time when, okay, so I just back up. It's a time where everybody's happy, supposedly, okay? Not everybody, of course, okay? So we who have a loss, it's probably not a happy time, okay? My first Christmas, we had a nice meal, and everybody was in the table. I got up, I went into the living room, sat down, and I just cried. Everybody could hear me. I know they could hear me just crying. And they were kind of embarrassed to get up and say, "Are you okay?" They just stayed at the table talking while I was in the living room, just crying my eyes out. It was very, very difficult first day. Okay, so for some of us, this is one of the most difficult times of the year. You've already started, with your husband's birthday. You said, you already know what I'm talking about. Okay, and then the fact that it's winter actually makes it worse. We need sunlight. It makes us cheerful. There's a psychological effect. Because the days are so dark, it actually does make us tend towards depression. The sheer darkness of them. Even if we didn't have the holidays, we would tend to get depressed in winter. And not only that, but for many of us, it's when our loved ones died. Especially the elderly. They have a tendency to die during winter because it's winter and it's so stressful on their bodies. So many of us, if our loved ones are elderly, we're celebrating a death in winter. Pina died in January. Okay, David? What? September, close enough. It's getting there. Not you.
January.
Yeah. Oh, January.
May.
Okay, that's the only exception. No, people die all year long, of course, but I'm just saying, especially for the elderly, the winter compounds it. So first you're depressed by the darkness. Then it's close to when the anniversary is, the death anniversary. And then just the idea that you're supposed to be happy and you can't be happy makes it even worse. So it is a terrible time for us. Okay? And anniversaries are always difficult, but this is just compounding it. Okay? When in January?
23rd.
Yeah, Venus the 18th. That's only 4 days later. Yeah, Venus will be 4 years. This is it. Yeah, 4 years, 11 months, and 50. No, who's counting? I am. Okay. All right. So it's a given. It's a rough time for us, right? I mean, yeah, and for reasons. Okay. But here's the problem. First of all, there's a lot of people that even without agreeing are not given to being happy just like that. Okay, you're supposed to be happy, cheer up. And there may be people that are not necessarily disposed to be cheerful, so they actually have problems with the holidays as well. We're not talking about people with losses, just talking about people who tend to be introverts, tend to be interior, tend to be quiet. Why should I have to cheer up, right? But you're supposed to. I mean, when we changed holy days to holidays, we also made it that you're supposed to be happy. And if you don't cooperate, you're ruining our joy. You're the party pooper. And so they come up to us and say, oh, come on, cheer up, don't be sad. Come on, you're supposed to be happy. It's the holiday, it's Christmas, okay? And okay, part of it's selfishness. You're ruining my fun. But part of it is true. I'm happy. Why shouldn't you be happy? So part of it's good-natured, and part of it's also selfish, self-centered. That you're ruining my fun. So, but the point is, their intentions are good, but they just don't understand. You can't turn on happiness and just be happy. You can't. We can't make ourselves happy. Can't. Okay. And if I may, you tried alcohol and that doesn't make you happy, right? Okay. All right. And I tried dating. Remember we talked about that last time, that I tried too early to start dating. And that was like alcohol. It didn't work either. Okay. All right. So we can't make ourselves be happy. And here they are telling us, be happy. Okay. And so that creates another problem. Because we feel that we're spoiling their fun. And so now, not just are we happy, are we sorrowful, now we're guilty. I ruined their fun. And when, not so much you, because it's been a while, but in the early part of your loss, guilt is a very natural reaction. Okay? We'll probably have a whole class on guilt and what the things are that you're guilty. We've already touched on it a little bit. You're guilty for not having taken care of your loved one. You're guilty because you're angry at God. You're guilty because maybe you didn't do enough to help you're guilty, and then you're just guilty. You just feel responsible for what's going on. Well, now you're responsible for ruining somebody's party. Okay, it's getting bad. I'm not trying to depress you, but I am trying to impress you that this, why it's such a difficult time, right? So I want you to be aware that part of your difficulty in dealing with the holidays is you're going to feel guilty that you ruined their fun, and they're going to try to make you feel guilty. Oh, come on, don't be such a spoiled sport. Okay, it's just what makes the holidays stressful. Okay, so you're already dealing with the dark, you're already dealing with the loss, and now you're dealing with the guilt. Okay. And also, what's wrong with me? Why can't I cheer up? You actually think you should cheer up. Don't think that. That's for sure. There's no way you can make yourself happy. Okay, don't expect to make yourself happy. All right, so what can we do? All right. Here's where, I'm sorry. I'm going to start with, there are going to be some very positive suggestions, but the way you do it is your way. Right? We're already different. I would never do that, and you did. Okay, the way you do it is your way, and the way you do it is your way. So I have to start with. I may suggest these things, but they don't apply to you. They may not apply to you, and whatever. Okay, you're going to have to find your own way. However, we can talk, and you can also just call me and say, I think I'm going to do this. What do you think about this? And I may say, that's a very good idea. Or I may say, well, be careful. Yeah. If you're going to do that, do this. Yeah, whatever. I may help you through the process. Okay. But you're going to have plan A, and you're going to have plan B, and you're going to have plan C, and I'm going to have plan D. So we'll come up with some suggestions, but they don't apply to all of us. Okay. So let's just say you are invited to a party because it's a holiday and we're supposed to party at holiday. And the festivity could be Thanksgiving dinner, it could be Christmas dinner, it could be posadas, it could be whatever your tradition, your family does. Okay, but you're invited. Come on over to our house. You'll get over your pain. Okay, they're already, they're trying to cheer you up. Okay, so what are your options? One of them is let go. No, I'm sorry, this year I'm not ready. Just not ready to go. Oh, maybe next year. But do say the word, I'm not ready. Okay, which means I don't hate you. I don't do, but not this year. That leaves you with the open. Maybe some other day I'll be ready, but not now. So I would suggest if you say no, bye. I'm not ready. But don't say I'm feeling depressed. Okay, because they're gonna say, oh well, but come to the party and you won't feel depressed. Okay, so not ready is a good explanation. Okay, you can go. Second option, go and pretend. That's putting on the mask. Just go there and, oh yeah, that's great. You know inside you don't feel it. But you actually smile and you actually force yourself to smile. You having a good time? Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Okay? Those are two options. But notice that I put asterisks in front of them. Okay? I put asterisks in the front of the first option and the second option, not go or put on a mask. Those are symptoms of denial. Okay? Denial is a legitimate response very early in your loss, within the first 3, 4, 5 months. You both are probably in the state of denial. Not me. I don't know about you. I have a friend who's 2 years into her loss and she's still in denial. She says that. I'm still dealing with denial. Okay? That's a little bit unusual and I'm working with her because that's a little bit too much. You weren't here, I think, when I talked about denial. We had a whole class on denial, but I'll repeat. If you're going to have an operation on your teeth, the dentist is going to give you Novocaine because you can't have the operation and stand that much pain without something. And that's denial. You have to have you have to. I mean, I wouldn't expect you to have the dental procedure, whatever, or something that puts you to sleep, anesthesia, either way. Okay? So denial is not a bad thing. Okay? It's a natural reaction to extreme pain. The only thing is that you can't be on the Novocaine forever. You can't be on the hard medicines, pain medicines forever. Eventually you go to Tylenol and ibuprofen or whatever. But the doctor may, for the first few months, recommend some narcotics. Okay? Denial is that. And so denial is perfectly normal and acceptable the first few months of your loss. So if you choose that, that's great. Realize it. But realize that you're doing that from a state of denial. I would, if it's the second year, no, I'd be careful. If it's 2 years now and you're still in denial, no. Then we have to talk. Do you understand? So denial for the first 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months, even for the first year is fine. It's normal. It's acceptable. And be aware, hey, I'm in denial. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to go. I don't want to face this. Or I'm in denial. Yes, I'm having a great time. Okay, you pretended. Right? So I do put that in. The first year, it's okay to option A and option B. The first year. Second year, we shouldn't be doing that. Okay? Okay? If you are, then you need to talk. Okay? All right, so that's the first two. But then go with, let your your host, no, I'm going, but please, can you do me a favor? And I printed it. So you can make a copy of this printout and share it with your host. Yeah. Uh-huh. And this is not a complete list. This is just an idea, but you're not going to give them.
You gave me two.
Yeah. You're not going to give them a real long list, okay? But it really is a long list of what you should do. Okay. This is just for them to get an idea of what you expect. But you said don't expect me to be cheerful. So don't tell me cheer up, okay? If I want to sit in a corner, just let me, okay? And tell your host that so that they don't say, "Oh, come on over and join us." You don't want that. So same thing. Don't expect me to participate. Come on, we're having the piñata. Get your stick. No, I don't want to take a turn. Okay? If I choose to pass, just let me. Okay? I'll be there. And don't come up to me and say, "Try to cheer up. Oh, come on, you're spoiling our fun. Join us. It'll help you to forget by doing all these things." You're being quiet. Come over and say something. They're forcing you to do things. Here's a good one. Julie? Don't let them say, get another drink. Do not. Okay? Other years, maybe you can have a few more cups than normal, but not the first one. Do not. Because once you drink, the emotions are going to come on out. And it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess, okay? And again, asterisk. The first year, don't overdo the alcohol. The second, third years, we can drink away, right? Okay, but I would be very, very careful with excessive alcohol when right now in this where you are right now. I would not recommend it. Okay, right. Those are the don'ts, but there's also positives. Ask me if I want to talk about my loved one. Really, healing is, Ralph was this way. He loved baseball. Go ahead and talk about it, and let them talk about it, and let them talk about their experiences with Ralph. I remember when he did this. I remember when he did. That's okay. Those are good things. Although maybe not. But most people find it useful and helpful and loving to talk. I remember when. Okay? Those are good things. Hugs are good. Some people are huggers, some people are not. I'm a hugger. So you can hug me, but check me out first. I may say, no, don't touch me. Okay? Let me cry. Yeah, so I bring this. They should actually have just to make an issue of it, have a box of Kleenex for me. I'll come into your party. Just give me a box of Kleenex. I may sniffle a little bit. Okay. And the next one is very personal for me. Allow me an exit strategy. At least 3 times I have bolted out of the party. 3 times. Yeah. The last one's it's very significant. I was already in my relationship with Tere, and it's really neat. We were karaoke, okay, and everybody's singing and drinking and singing, and then the lady starts singing this song about, "I can't have you, you are gone, you are not there anymore," and that's it. That's all I needed. Meltdown, and I ran out the door. Teddy ran after me. But not what you think. She didn't say, come back, or give me a hug. You know what she did? Take your jacket, it's cold out there. That's all the reason she walked out of it. She was saying, I support you in doing this. Just take your jacket. And then she took the jacket. She didn't even give me a hug or anything. Just gave me the jacket and see you. And I walked around for about half an hour. But at least I had a warm jacket.
Yeah.
She took care of me. That is support. Mm-hmm. That is beautiful support. Okay? The point is that your host should let you know if you bolt out for a while, don't go running after me. Allow me. And when you get to the party, look for the door. If I crash, I'm going to go that way and out there, and I'll be over there crying. Okay? You actually plan it. And if it's someplace where it's completely enclosed where you can't escape, don't be there. Just say, no, this isn't the right environment for me. You should have a door where you can exit, because you can crash in the middle of the party. Okay? So plan on it. And go for it. If you feel it well enough, go and cry your eyes out. Okay? A good half hour should do it, and then you can come back. Not in good condition, probably shaky, but you can come back. Okay? So you plan on an exit, and they know that you can exit and not follow you. Okay? Or that's it, I'm going home. So don't go with somebody. Go in your own car to the party. So that, oh no, I need a ride from so and so. Okay? No, you got your own car. Next year you go with somebody. But bye, I'll see you, and take off in your own car. That's kind of critical. Plan on your own car, so that nobody's depending on you, and you don't. They're having fun, and you want to go home. Okay, you got your car. So assume that it can happen, and you can crash, and okay, all right, and. Okay, you tell your host, enjoy yourself. Don't. I have a good friend, Tony, and she lost her son, and she said I would go into the room as soon as I walk into him. Everybody quiet, there she is. It made her feel bad that everybody just hushed up when she went into the room, and not talk to her. Keep on partying. Okay, let me be in the corner. The only thing with this picture is the man's doing the telephone thing. But I couldn't find another picture. But basically, they're having the party and he's in the corner somewhere. Don't do the telephone thing. But just, you can be in the party looking at them enjoy themselves. Okay, but you don't have to enter into the. Again, if it's a piñata, you can watch them do the piñata, but you don't have to do the piñata yourself. I'm using that as an example. Say they play charades or they play cards. You don't have to join. Okay? You can watch them. Okay? Give yourself permission and let your host know that I have a right to do that. Okay? And remember, this is what you tell your host. You're not responsible for myself. It's not your fault that my husband died. Okay? It's not your fault. So don't feel like you have to fix it. You didn't cause it. You don't have to fix it. And I still love you, but I know I'm kind of ruining your party. But this is where I'm at right now. So just say, I love you, but and I don't mean to destroy your party, but this is who I am right now. And let them understand that this is not you being angry at them. Okay? Good. That's if you go to the party. What if you don't go to the party? What if you don't go to the party? What do you do then? Okay? Be careful. Because if you choose option B, I'm not going to go. I'm just going to say I'm not ready. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to stay home. Are you going to stay home and just cry? I would plan, if I'm not going to go to the party, and I know there's a party tonight, I'm going to do this. Plan on something. Okay, again, you missed this, but we were talking about pendulation. Mm-hmm. Okay, you weren't there, or you were? Okay, pendulation is you got to feel your pain, and then you got to take a break and escape. Escape is the word, actually escape. Okay, and do something pleasant. Then you feel your pain, and then you do something. You don't stay in your pain, and you don't stay avoiding your pain. You have to feel your pain. So it's both. Okay. I would definitely plan on an escape strategy. If you don't go to the party, do not stay home and just cry. So if you like a movie, watch a good movie. Okay. If you have a good friend and invite your friend over, just 2 people, 3 people, and that's a lot more manageable than a party. And you can just talk. Okay. But whatever it is that you find enjoyable, go for a walk, whatever, okay? Go to a concert where there's nobody there, it's a bunch of strangers, that's good, okay? And this is very individual, but find something enjoyable, and escape. Don't avoid the party and stay home crying. Okay, if possible. All right. All right. So let's move on. And there are family traditions that all families have family traditions, but they can be connected to your spouse. We're all dealing with spouse, right? Nobody here lost a child, it's a spouse, right? Okay. So I remember when my husband used to do this, and now we're doing that, okay? And that can be very, very painful. So some traditions can be triggers, and you may want to deal with that tradition, either ignore it, whatever, okay? So what do we do when we have a tradition and it could be a potential for a trigger? Okay. Well, you could be realistic and just keep the tradition. Okay. Or, and from now on, I'm not going to do that because it reminds me too much of, okay, what Ralph and I used to do. Okay. And notice that I have another asterisk there. If you eliminate a tradition, that's fine for the first year or two. But you may want to eventually bring the tradition back. Okay? And actually, option 3 is good. Modify it. And I'll give you 2 real good examples. In our family, what we used to do is on Christmas Eve, we would rock the baby. That's the little baby Jesus. It's a little doll. And we would form a line with pairs, couples, okay? And we would just get a little cloth and we'd take the baby Jesus and we're singing the song, la ru, 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 okay? And then you pass it on to the next couple and you would rock the baby Jesus, okay? Well, I would always do that with my wife. So here we go again. I can't do that with her anymore. Yeah, that's really horrible. I'm doing this with my daughter. Yeah.
Modify.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That wasn't easy. That was the first year, and that was very, very hard. But I did do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's a good example of I've changed the tradition. Now from now on, I do it every year with my daughter, or one of my sons. It doesn't have to be a woman. Okay, but with somebody that's a loved one that can take the place of Fina. Another thing is when we gather for a meal, I will always put a plate, and there's Fina's picture, and she joins us in the meal. New tradition.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Actually, I don't even have the empty plate. I put the food on her plate. I put the food on her plate. And it's kind of interesting. We now have the meals, and I have Fina there, and I have Ted over here. She's perfectly fine with that. She understands that I got to do that. So Ted is sitting next to me, and Fina's over there. But I do put Ted next to me, and Fina, because otherwise I am pushing Ted aside and saying Fina is going to be, no, I don't want to do that. So, but it is kind of interesting that I have both of them there at the table. Okay. Or you start a new tradition. I didn't used to do this. Can you see it? My altar. So I started it by just honoring Fina. There's her picture again, the same picture. It's the same picture. But then I thought, but there's a lot of people that have died in my family, my parents and whatever. So all of a sudden I started adding, and I couldn't. I was amazed by how many people I added. And this is last year's altar. This year's altar is even bigger. A lot more people have died and it's grown. Okay.
It's an ofrenda, right?
What's that?
Ofrenda?
Yeah, if you saw the movie Coco, that's basically what that is. It is a Mexican thing, but I've never done it. But I started it once Fina passed away. So I started a new tradition. Well, I took on an existing Mexican tradition, started doing it in my house. And then a lot of my friends said, oh, I do it too. I didn't realize that. I never did it. Okay? But I have a caveat on that one. I'll explain that in a second. Okay, so be aware of traditions that involve your spouse. Can you handle them? Yes or no? And it's your choice. Because to say, I don't want to do that anymore because Ralph and I used to do it, and it just hurts too much. I'll be thinking about him. Yeah, I'm not going to participate in that. That's your choice, of course. Okay. So you need to think about it. So let me go one more. There's no right way and a wrong way, and it's actually experimental. You decide what is right for yourself. Just what I just did, maybe you can't do. Okay, I could never do this, and you can. We're different. Right? Okay, you have the right to change your mind as you experiment. Let's go back to this one. Last year, the tradition is to keep the altar up for all of November. At the end of the month, I got depressed. There was just too much death. So this year, I changed it. I just took it down yesterday. Because yesterday was All Souls Carmelite. On the 15th, we celebrate All Souls Carmelite. So I celebrate All Souls. We celebrated November 2nd, and we celebrated November 15th. And after November 15th, I tore it down. I said, no, I don't want to keep it up there. Because now I know how I react. Okay? So it isn't like you're stuck with these things. Experiment. And that was an experiment that maybe wasn't quite that good. So I only did it for half of the month instead of for the whole month. You have the right to say no to people, but be honest about it. That goes back to if your host invites you to something, you can say, no, I'm not ready. You have the right to make your needs known. So I really suggest you give this to your host. I'm coming, but can I share this? I'll fax it to you, or email it to you, or text it to you. Just read it. Help me here. Help me here. I'll go, but help me. Okay? You have every right to do this, to share this. Be open to possibilities that there will always be sad. The holidays will never again be a joyful time. Just accept that. Maybe. We're all different. Okay. I'm getting to the point where I barely enjoy the holidays. Barely. Okay. But again, I tend to emphasize the spirituality of the holidays, and that they can't take away. Okay? My loss cannot take away that. As opposed to, it's a party, Okay? And I was there, and we were doing karaoke, and I was having a great time. Oh, and I had been drinking. And that's why I reacted so strongly. Okay? This is last year. In December. It was last year, about a year ago. Mm-hmm. So 1 minute I'm enjoying the karaoke, and the next minute I'm crying and running out the door. Within seconds. So you can have tears and laughter almost simultaneously. I mean, the change was that quick. As soon as I heard that, I crashed. Yeah. So, what's wrong with me? I cry 1 minute and laugh the next minute. There's nothing wrong with you. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing wrong with you. Okay. It is a time of very mixed emotions, very raw. Okay. So part of it is don't think of yourself as what's wrong with me. The fact that you feel guilty, the fact that you can't enjoy things, that these things don't mean anything to you anymore. Don't feel guilty. You're going through a normal process. Okay, let's move on. So there are 2 videos, and I'm not going to play them today because the one by David Kessler is 20 minutes long, and and the one by Dr. Mary Sue Lin is about 12 minutes long. They're both real good. So phones are good, right? I can text you the links.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll text you the links to the 2 videos. And really, a phone is okay because you don't have to see anything. They're just talking. So you can put the phone down and just do whatever, your housework or whatever, and listen to him. Okay? David Kessler is one of the pioneers of grieving. Okay? And so his outline is quite thorough. So here's basically what he's going to talk to you about. That's in the back of your thing. Okay? So you can kind of refer to that. He'll go over these points. He'll suggest things, and again, he's going to say the same thing I'm saying. You can try this, but maybe not. You can try this, maybe not. He'll come up with lots of suggestions for you. So take your time and listen to that. Listen, really. You don't have to see it. Just listen to it. It's a YouTube thing, but whatever. The interview with Dr. Lin is kind of interesting because it's both perspectives. It talks with what's your experience as a griever, and it talks about how your host should take care of you, how your host should support you. So it works both ways. Well, the more you know how they should support you, the more you can tell them, look, this is how you can help me. Because you may be lost. I don't know, this is horrible. I don't know what you can do to help me. No. I actually need to teach you what they can do to help you. You understand? Does that make sense? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good for you to understand what is helpful from there and tell them, this is what helps me. This is what you need to do to help me. Okay. Now I do have again a caveat. Dr. Mary Sue Lin says, don't put on a mask. I disagree there. Okay. But she will say, don't put on a mask. Don't pretend. I say yes, pretend. The first year. But not the second. But the first year, yes, you can pretend. Put on a mask. If you must attend this party, I'm having a great time. Yeah. Oh, this is wonderful. Oh, yeah. Another drink? No, thank you. Okay. But you said you're having a good time. Yeah, but without drinking. Okay. Okay. At this point, even though it's a very tiny part of the presentation, this is the last page. Okay. I cannot emphasize enough the spiritual. Okay. These people are doctors, although these people are Christians. She does, at the very end, she does talk about God. Yeah, they're both Christians, not Catholics, Christians, Protestants. That's nice. I like the way they end. Okay. But definitely David Kessler, I believe he's Jewish too from this. I believe he's Jewish. Okay. It's very good advice. It's very practical advice. It's definitely something you should consider as options. You don't have to accept everything they say. I cannot emphasize enough. This is a spiritual ministry. We believe that healing comes through your relationship with our Lord Jesus Christ. Healing comes from the tree of life that was in the garden way back then. Okay? Think of it this way. You're on your own. I can give you all the classes you want, but in the long run, your journey in grieving is your journey. Remember the analogy of they put you in the water and you got to learn how to swim. We'll teach you to swim, but you got to swim. Okay? But you're not alone. And I'm not talking about us. Your journey in mourning is with him. Okay? And the idea that he's at your side, like the idea that he even grabs your hand and walks you through your pain. Okay? He doesn't heal you. He walks with you through your pain. That is the journey. And he'll guide you to true healing eventually. But for right now, he's going to walk with you. And you have to think in terms of that. In your prayer life, in your spirituality. I'm not alone. He walks with me. But the group, I'm outside. Okay, I can only do so much. It's you and him, you and him, you and him, and me and him. That's the journey. So pray, and just be honest. I feel guilty. I feel mad. I feel lonely. I feel like I'm not continuing anymore, ending my life. Just be honest. You can have all those feelings. Okay? This is for you. That's a suggestion for you and me, because you're not from the parish, right, from Santa Cruz. No. But we finally restructured adoration, and it's from 3 o'clock in the afternoon till 6. I put myself at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for an hour. I would love for you and I both to come and to say the bereavement group is coming from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock as a group, not as two individuals. Okay, and anybody else that's in the bereavement group, I do recommend it to both of you. You can come at 3 o'clock in the afternoon here to Santa Cruz.
On Fridays?
On Fridays, all Fridays. Now, work, whatever. But if you ever find a chance, come at that time. Spend an hour in adoration. daily rosary. I absolutely recommend it. You got to be connected through the Mass. Okay. And if you can spare some time during the week, you know. My wife died on a Saturday. Saturday is very important. It's just Saturdays, because she passed away on a Saturday. I always go to Saturday Mass. Always. Just because that was the day. So in addition to Sunday. Right? And Scripture is beautiful, especially the Psalms. The Psalms are, remember how I said share your feelings with God, and if you're angry or disappointed, read Psalm 22. No, I'll read Psalm 22. Not 23. 23 is the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Oh, it's such a nice song, right? Let me read you Psalm 23. 22. My God, why have you abandoned me? Why are you so far from my call for help, from my cries of anguish? My God, I call all day long, but you do not answer. By night, I have no relief. If that's what you feel, this song is expressing it. Okay? And this is classic Jewish. It begins very negative. You're not there. And then it ends, you know what, but you are there. So I will read you the bottom of that, you know. I will proclaim your name to the assembly. For God has not spurned this name, the misery of this poor wretch. Do not turn away from me. But he heard me when I cried out. I will offer praise in the assembly. You did hear me after all. I mean, the psalm ends on a very positive note, but it begins with, why are you not there? You know, listen to me. Okay? Psalms are good. I do recommend Luke and Matthew for no other reason that just for the holidays. Read the beginnings of Luke and the beginnings of Matthew, because you get some sense of what Christmas means. And it's holy days, not holidays. Okay? All right. So, at this time, okay.